Me and my platoon sergeant intuitively knew that it was way too quiet. And he saw the guy run around the corner and put his hand up his shirt and blew up. The guy behind me, he was killed instantly. I spent about 17 days in a coma, I believe. But beyond all that, hearing loss was the least of anybody's worries.
When the doctors or people would come in the room, they would ask him a question and he would just look straight at me.
At the time with the other injuries, I was already dealing with accepting those. And they had the underlying hearing loss. And trying to accept so many different disabilities at once, it was quite overwhelming, to be honest.
He amazes me every day. Just the fact that he's come so far and that he's found a purpose helping people with hearing loss, helping people with brain injury.
Sharing what I've learned with other veterans is extremely important. It's the only way that we can address this in the best way.
The purpose of the Heroes with Hearing Loss program is to bring a conversation about hearing loss within the veteran community to veterans.
I think veterans definitely have that type A personality. They want to be the best, they don't want to be broken, they don't want to have something that's wrong with them. So I think making them feel comfortable that, you know, you're not broken because you need this is going to help you.
Hearing loss, it was just not something anybody thought about. We were worried about the acute injuries. With the hearing loss being so sudden, I think that it doesn't give you a chance to really psychologically absorb it.
About 1:30 in the afternoon, it's about 122 degrees, and there was a suicide bomber who drove a flatbed truck with about 100 tanks of propane to my front entry control point. They had a detonation switch and detonated, and I basically took the blast face first. I suffered a traumatic brain injury, a loss of hearing, and then burned on 40% of my upper body, 3rd degree. It was like being shell-shocked like a movie. I didn't even realize that I had hearing loss because, again, I'm having multiple surgeries and my pain level is so high that other things didn't really matter. It actually probably took 2 years to identify that I had a hearing problem. I don't really look at it as tragic. Just unfortunate that, you know, it happened to get blown up. I mean, 2 minutes later, it could have been somebody else, or 10 minutes later, it could have not been me. I just look at it as something I have to deal with and, you know, just try and be positive and move on.
What are some of the tools that you have found most valuable?
Well, I think for me, when I'm talking on the phone, it's one of the weaker areas for someone that has a hearing loss. So I have a Hamilton Captel telephone that gives me captioning and allows me to...
The biggest thing that has helped me, I decided to look for an advocacy group, a support group of sorts.
It's huge for him to be around other people like that. The panel has been amazing for him because he knows other people who are going through the same thing, and to realize that, you know, he's not alone. He's part of a group.
As soon as you have another person you meet that's a vet, there's a level of trust. I mean, it's just how we were trained. You have a relationship that's already created out of a mutual bond. The only thing I know in my adult life is leading soldiers and training soldiers. So, you know, I guess for me it's, you know, satisfaction helping the other guys.
I was thrown from the helicopter and basically somersaulting out across the ground, and then I just looked up and the helicopter exploded. After experiencing the death and destruction of combat, like, you just can't go back and be the person you were before.
A lot of the hearing loss now is from traumatic brain injuries, from being so close to the blast. And so I think there's more going on in their brains than just the hearing loss is just one part of that.
I never viewed hearing loss as serious or critical. Mine is all intertwined with my combat experience.
It's one more thing that he lost because of the war.
If life had been different for me, or if I could live it over or whatever, it might have been pretty boring, and mine hasn't been boring for a moment. It's been challenging.